Welcome to a gratuitous amount of guitar. Happy Tuesday, everyone. To say a bluesy, rockin' bluesy version of Rocky Top. I'm sorry to all my Alabama fans out there, but Saturday night belongs to the Vols. It does. One of the greatest, if not the greatest, college football game I have ever seen in my life. Saturday night, University of Alabama came all the way to Knoxville, Tennessee. For those that don't know their college football history, this is a rivalry. The third weekend in October, cigar game. It is a true rivalry, and for 20 years, Alabama has been a 800-pound gorilla, a dominant force in the SEC, countless championships. But my goodness, 52 points on the scoreboard from the Big Orange, and it made me real happy. And there hasn't been that many points put on the scoreboard against Alabama in regular season since 1907. So I got the Tennessee. Look at that little right there in the brim. You know, had to get a fresh lid. Man. I might play Rocky Top all week long. Different variations. Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen? But what a Tuesday. What a glorious week it is in Tennessee. The sun seems to be shining a little more orange, and I'm super happy about it. Thanks to Vidami, these folks right here, bringing you the hang, bringing you the show week after week. It is a true delight to work with them. This is a fantastic product. This is not ShamWow, you know. This isn't that thing. You want to learn how to play guitar and you want to learn how to make it easy for yourself. Keep your hands on the guitar, not monkeying around with a mouse or keyboards. This kind of foolishness. This right here stays at your feet. And you can loop it. You can grab sections of music off of YouTube and TrueFire and my Patreon and all this kind of stuff. You can loop those sections like what I played at the top. Just noodling, just warming up. Nothing too serious. But you can loop that, control the speed, the pause, the forwards, the backwards, and it just makes learning stuff way easier. It makes it easier. You don't have to be messing like, what are you going to do? You're going to use this thing with your hands? It sucks. Oh, it's great. It's great for trackpad, but it sucks for learning stuff. Go over to Vidami.com. You can get the 10% discount if you order Woodshed Live 10, and you can grab you one of these. This thing Bluetooths to your iPad, all kinds of good stuff. I just use it Bluetooth to the desktop. Welcome AMS in the house, American Musical Supply. Maybe a question for you, AMS. I got good friends over there. I'm integrating a UA aux. What you hear me play through week in and week out is the Universal Audio aux. AMS, is there a company that makes a case for the aux? I want to start traveling with that. I want to start touring with it. And I've got the one that stays at home. I've got a second one now. And I'm looking for consistency from night to night, the tone that I have, kind of what I've got going on in the studio. And I'm looking for somebody that makes a case where I don't have to get in there and fiddle with it and hodgepodge. Does somebody already make that item? Is my question, or is that a custom deal that needs to be ordered from a case manufacturer? Is there an SKB? Is there a Gator? One of these companies that make that case? Justin R is in the house, and he said, "Go Vols, go Vols." That's right. Oh, so okay, cool. Yeah, I'm looking for something that can handle the horrific plane. The flying. That is really tough on gear. I recently got a nice case from Quantum Industries. I actually had to buy it used because there's been such a part shortage. But that's what I've been touring with. For those that don't know, I've been touring with my brothers and from the Rascal Flats camp. Gary LaVox is doing a solo tour and a solo record, and he's kind of pumping that thing, doing some shows with him. And so we're doing a lot of fly dates. I mean, you know, sometimes we fly private, sometimes we fly commercial, so I got to have something super, super rugged. It's a situation where it's just, you know, smaller setup, and they fly us everywhere. It's not a lot of bussing. But with that said, you got to have something that can just take a beating, because Delta and American Airlines, they show no mercy. I still haven't got my acoustic guitar fixed from American Airlines, just doing their worst. They cracked the top, you know, from right here all the way back. I'm playing the old standby today. I've got the new right there, the new Lester there, and then my classic checkerboard telly. and the orange Strat and the PRS behind it. Man, I've been playing that PRS a lot on my new album. It sits really nice for rhythm guitars. It's the thing, you know, I see online a lot of times. I see online that a lot of times, sometimes folks are like, "Oh man, my PRS, it doesn't, you know, it's not a Les Paul, it's not a Fender. Where does it sit?" I actually think they sit great for rhythms. I really do. I think PRS is a really great rhythm guitar. Sometimes you can get a Lester in there. It's too chunky. You get a Telly. Even with humbuckers, it'll be a little thin. I mean, this guitar, I've got the humbuckers in it to, you know, but it's still a thin. I mean, it's a Telly, you know, so it's got that thing going on. Talking tone here. Let's put a little reverb here. I mean, it's really about that thinner kind of thing. This is with the bridge pickup. These are new pickups. We're gonna be coming out with these real soon. These are Woodbuckers. And then here's the full bridge pickup. You know, kind of beefy. And then you can pop that thing out and split that thing. You get a pretty convincing. Yeah. So, talking tone here. Rhythm guitars, man, getting a lot of use. Let me show you that PRS. There it is. So really, really killer guitar right here. I got this when I was 21. My mom that year got this really big bonus, and we never had any money growing up. But mom had a good year with the healthcare company she got into. She got going in life with that kind of thing later on in life, and she got me this when I turned 21, and this is a forever guitar for me. But it's fantastic. This is custom 24, but man, I did switch the pickups out. These pickups in this are the Ted McCarty pickups. Shout out to Bev over PRS and Rich. They really took care of me, and I was looking for something different. It had some what was that pickup called? Was it called a Dragon? Did they put dragons in this? This is so old that it's got the serial number on the back that was like when they used to hand paint the artist number ones, right? So this is an older ride, but I love it. And it sure does sit good in a mix. It really does. Rock like this kind of. We're trying to. Those kind of tones are always nice on that guitar. They're chunky, but they're not too much low end. It's really nice. Really good. Even without being too much high end, too much low end. It's a good sounding guitar, man. We've been using it with the album a lot. With tone, so much of it comes from your starting point and your amp and your cabinet. Like, again, I'm using this aux, like what I've talked about. Sacred City NYC says, I use the SKB I-Series case for the aux. Excellent. That's great to know. That's really good to know. So I use the aux because I can set up about 6 different cabinets and flip through them. If I'm doing a rock gig, I can set up a little more rock thing. Country, I can have a deluxe for the chicken picking thing. And it's pretty dadgum consistent. I really like that, man. Also, there's an attenuator so I can run the amp at the same volume that I always like to run it at. Consistency's the thing, you know. Small stages, when I do my solo stuff, you know, we're playing clubs. It's not playing arenas. Flip it, and then you do something with Gary, play the Grand Ole Opry or something. That's a big room, you know. You get even bigger than that, you know. And for TV spots, you don't even need a cabinet. Just take a head. We're on in-ears, you know. So there's that thing. So yeah, thanks for the shout out, Sacred City. Ox needs a case for show. Okay. Talking tone, for me, it's about really listening to the amp and what it has to offer. Just start out with nothing here. Okay. That's just the old Cerbella right there. To me, that's a workhorse of an amp. I have 3 of them. Just letting you hear the different positions on the guitar. Really great workhorse amp, right? And I want to hear the fundamentals of the amp and the cabinet. And I don't want to hear a lot of spiky frequencies. When I'm going for those kind of frequencies, I want to bring them in. For instance, I'm going to bring in an EQ pedal. We'll take that back out. Just on those notes. Now with the EQ pedal. Just a little more sparkle and sheen. I want to put that in. The reason is when I go to overdrives, I don't want that sparkle. I don't like that sparkly, piercing high end on an overdrive that I like on a clean tone. I come from that EJ school where your cleans are pristine and shimmery, Landau, kind of, yeah. That kind of thing. And I don't want that sheen to be on my overdrive tone. All right. So now this next, but just preface yourself, because this episode is going to be about tone, and obviously I'm going to be saying, and this is the Andy Wood signature, blah, 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 and this is the Andy Wood signature, and everybody's going to be like, oh, please stop with the sales pitch. Hey, man, I developed these products from scratch. This is stuff that when somebody asks me what sounds good, I'm like, this is the one that I think sounds good. This is what I think works really well. Yeah, it's got my name on it, but I didn't take a situation, pre-existing product and put a paint job on it, right? Like, that's not how I like to work. This is something that didn't exist. 24 fret telly. This is 0. This is model number 0, a prototype to the modern T. Basically, every modern T, there's no basically, I'll say it. Every modern T is a copy of this guitar. This is prototype 0. Every single Sir modern T is this is the one ring to rule them all right here. This is the one that made them. Okay, so you heard me talk about the EQ pedal and how I like to use a little EQ to bring in sparkle on a darker kind of tone. Now, the next thing, in my opinion, that is the MSG for your tone is the Woodshed Compressor. This is my secret weapon. I'll tell you a really cool story before I give you an audio comparison. I'm friends with Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge. Obviously, he's a freak show singer. He sings with Slash and stuff. He's incredible. Go back and check his, I think it was Mayfield 4. Was that the name of his band? Mayfield 4? Something like that. Anyways, Miles is incredible. I went to see him in Chattanooga, and I took him a Woodshed Compressor. You gotta understand, Miles is a freak show guitar player. Like, people sleep on his guitar playing. It's one thing to hear him sing. He's an incredible singer, man. He's just as good. He's just a monster guitar player too. Great bluesy chops, great feel. He's got the thing that's difficult to capture in a recording environment. He's got that thing. He just sounds cool when he plays guitar. He's a big gear nerd, like we all are. And I took him the Woodshed Compressor. I said, "Hey man," his tech was there, and I said, "No pressure at all. If you like this thing, cool. If you don't, cool. Just check it out. Just plug it up and check it out." He texts me back, and he goes, later on the next day, and he goes, man, I plugged that up and I just couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe how good it sounded. Later on after that, his tech goes, hey man, this legit is his favorite pedal. I think they ordered another one for, another rig or whatever, thanks. It's awesome, whatever. I just saw in a recent guitar interview or something, somebody said, what's your favorite piece of gear? And he's like, the Andy Woodshed Compressor. It's the thing. In my opinion, this thing is MSG for your tone. I set it for a little bit of bump. Little bit of decibel bump. It's not really compressor. It's a bit of a compressor. It's a bit more boost. It's transparent. It doesn't kill your attack. Here it is without. Really great. Sounds great. Instantly, you can just hear it come alive. Without it. It's just more of everything. More of this. More body. More sheen. More bass. Play that same chord. Play that same chord without it. One more time with it. Yeah. Just a little bit of, it just makes everything sound better. Yeah. Here's the split. So this is just the neckmost coil of the guitar. So the noise floor will be there because this is a true split on the neck. So here we go. Here we go. Right? It's just instantaneous. Man, it's killer. It's just now when you add in a little bit of verb, this is just something to have. Verb and delay to me are like salt and pepper. You put them into where you like it, and that's it. It's just just whatever your echo is. Ah, where's my bar? There it is. And if you notice, the dynamic's really there. I can play soft or loud. Okay, so let's just compare that with like a tube screamer. Here's the Sheba Reloaded. It's basically like a really cool tube screamer. Yeah. I don't really use it for much of anything. Just to put a little growl on it. Now, when I put in the compressor, immediately we're a little more Texas. Okay. Next up is just a Pantheon. Straight in, nothing. Sounds really good. Just sounds like rock stuff, right? Okay. Next up is just the pinnacle side of the Gearbox. I see the question right here from Billy Wagner. Take a sip of this. Mountain Dew, if you're looking for endorsers, I'm your guy. Billy says, how do you set up the pinnacle side of the Gearbox into a deluxe reverb style amp with the bright cap? Okay. The thing to know about Gearbox is the mids control this upper mid thing. I set it really dark. I'm looking for that bridge pickup, EJ Timmons. I'm looking for that thing right there. That is what I'm after. The thick bridge pickup thing. So the mids are really low. The mids are at like 9 o'clock right now. Everything else is kind of noon. The gain's at like 2 o'clock. I'm going to turn up the mids. It's going to be super bright. That's how much the mids control. So I keep that thing on a leash. 9 o'clock works. Dark and chewy and full of all the things that I like. Let's add the compressor. Without the compressor. With the compressor pushing it, it's a good sound. It sounds good. Now, for other options, I'll turn the compressor off and use channel 1 in front of channel 2 of the Gearbox and boost it like this. More gain, you know. Makes those kind of licks really nice. I kind of sucked today. I didn't nail that leg. There we go. A little bit better. Kind of messy, but whatever. I'm looking for a lot of clarity. You know what I'm saying? Looking for it to be dark. You know, somewhere all in there. So that sounds really good, and it's a different kind of sound than channel 2 only with the Gearbox, with the Woodshed Compressor. You know, it's kind of, this is a more round kind of sound. So it's just different. It's different strokes for different folks and for different kinds of gain. You know, obviously, like dealing with cabinets and amps and things like that, those are all different. Lately, for my sound, when I'm not going for the session player thing, where I've got to do like metal, I'll just go straight to a 5153, this Friedman of Benz, or a Diesel Herbert, and just straight in, ready to rock. But for the rock thing that I do and the kind of tone that I like, this is the business. This has the business. Yeah. That kind of thing is nice. Really good on the split sounds too. Yeah, let's just take a swing at one. Why not? Kind of talking. Let's just do one. I haven't played one in a while. Trying to remember it. I haven't played it in a while. Let's just take a swing at it. See what we got. Yeah, just a silly romp through that. Kind of fun. That solo section's fun to play over. Do another swing at it. Another swing at that solo section. It's fun to play over. Solo. I think that'd be cool. Let's do it cleaner. That'd be a cool way to start it. One more time. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's phrase that a bit better. I think the starting that solo kind of fiery like that, right? One more. Try to play melodic this time. Fun with a lot of delay like that, right? Let's try it. A little less delay. Try again. A little more delay. Here we go. This middle. Maybe we could do some Eric Johnson stuff and it'd be kind of cool. yeah, just some silliness over that. Just some silliness. Let's get in here and get back in the chat. I love the 69mega.com. Want to find love? Our AI will help. Chuck's on the job. Want to find love, Chuck? The AI can help. Tom's in the house. From Chicago, Bears fan. Love to see it. Freaking love to see it. Alvin Dunford says, I think I'm using too much gain on my gearbox. Hey, man, same thing with that like mid knob. The push on that's really strong. The sweep on Wampler pedals just in general is really strong. So be easy with it. Definitely be easy with it. And I use, kind of lower output pickups. There's not really crazy EMG 81, 85. It's not that kind of thing. It's kind of crazy. My Tom Anderson has H3 pickups, and those are hot. Cooking. Those things are cooking. Let's see. Please make a mistake so we can see you're human. Man, I make all kinds of mistakes, dude. Man, I make all kinds of mistakes. But the thing is you just got to try to get in there and dig through them. Let's see what we got here. Thomas Dennett says, I just saw and met Steve Vai, Phoenix. Steve's awesome. Hey, Fishbulb, I have the Barber Tone Press. I think I have like every compressor ever made. I love them. Like, I love compressors. They do just a cool thing. They make clean tones cool. I like them. It's different. Obviously, I developed mine with Kevin, and we made what I think sounds the best. So my nepotism is showing, but also I think it's better. I do. Vidami is going to need an Andy mode that slows things down even further. Man, it's on there, dude. I was using my Vidami this week to learn some Jake Workman stuff. He was playing a beautiful version of Little Cabin Home on the Hill on YouTube. And for those that don't know Jake Workman, what a great guy. What a monster player and a great guy. Tom says, what kind of software do you use in your home studio? Good old Logic. Just good old Logic, and that's it. Has anybody asked what kind of pick he's using? Yeah, I use blue chip picks, and I also use the cheaper version is the Diodario Black Ice 1.5. They put my name on it so I don't forget who I am, which is great for my ego. I need an ego booster. Let's see here. Slide that over. My live stream, holy F, my first live stream to jump into. They're all like this, Thomas. It's chaos. Little known secret, Andy's voice is an octave lower, and we have a 2-time live stream speed boost plugin. Yeah, that's a little known secret. Real low. Yeah, the blue chip, this is what I use on acoustic guitars, is this big boy right here. Like that blue chip CT55. And then on electrics, I had one and I just misplaced it. It's in the little case on the other side. I just picked this up. This is what was laying on the desk, so that's what I used. But if I'm going to record and something's really important, not to say this stream isn't important. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if something is like a session, I'll use my blue chip. Maurice says, fellow True Fire instructor here, checking out your gear chat. Monster playing. Oh, Maurice, I'm just goofing off. There's nothing too serious happening on here as far as picking goes. Just goofing off. But tone is the topic. Tone is the topic of the day, and I would be happy to answer any questions you guys have. So fire off those tone questions. I'm looking at chat. I'm zoned in here. I want to make you happy. Also, as always, this is the only way we're getting to hang out right now. This is the old Vidami. If you want to learn any hot, tasty licks from the internet, this is how you do it. You can grab something, you can loop it. I was using my Vidami to loop some Jake Workman stuff, like I was saying, and try to steal some tasty chops from that young man. This thing allows you to loop it. You can slow it down. You can do all kinds of crafty, neato witchcraft type of things. You can I mean, like to me, just being able to pause something and go back, just pause and back. I know it's the most simple feature, but when it's at your feet and you don't have to touch a mouse, it's amazing. It just allows me to just kind of focus on the playing and not any of the fiddling and tomfoolery that needs to be going on up here. Not fiddling in a good way, fiddling in a bad way. Jay is in the house. My man, Jay Smory. Always a lovely shout out to Jay. Jay is so kind. I'm going to brag on him for a second. When we do Patreon, we do a weekly live masterclass on Zoom where everyone can join in on their computers and phones and stuff. And it's on my Patreon, patreon.com/anywoodmusic. But Jay is so kind to record those and catalog those and re-upload those. And as a guy who's always running at capacity with hard drives and system and stuff, I just appreciate that so much. So Jay, I can never thank you enough for just hitting record on that week after week. He's saying here that he's rehooked on Venus Isle. It's a 10. It's an 11 out of 10. Venus Isle is one of the greatest guitar instrumental records ever. Or it's not instrumental. One of the greatest guitar records ever made. I said what I said. I think it's in the top 20 easy. Top 20 guitar records. That's like a guitar guy record. We're not talking pop. Just talking top, like guitar records. Talking Satriani, Vi, George Benson, Brent Mason. Like, I think Venus Isle is one of the top 20. Easy. Like, easy. The thing is like, if you got 20 guitar guy records, an argument can be made for Avia Musicom and Venus Isle. That's how strong that is. I said what I said. Y'all, come at me. I said what I said. I back it. EJ is the GOAT, for sure. Just switch to stubbies. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're telling me there. It ain't that kind of show. What do you think of the AZ range by Ibanez? Phil Morris is in the house. Phil, how you doing? Very important question here. What do you think about the AZ range by Ibanez? I think it's interesting. I think it is putting out a great product at a price point that's of value. Also, I can also say that it's not meant to compete with Tom Anderson and Tyler and Sir. I don't think it does. I think it's a great guitar. I think the U.S. the Japanese kind of custom shop. Like, I played AT's guitar, Andy's guitar. It's really on. I think the AZs are good. I've played Tom's and some of my boys. I think they're good. I think they're a great value. A great, fantastic value. I personally can call Tom Anderson. And I'm not going to use Sir. Obviously, I'm a Sir fanboy. Like, obviously. Come on. I'm wearing the freaking hoodie. So let's not use them in the conversation. I could call Tom Anderson and say, hey, build me this sight unseen, and I know it's going to be an 11 out of 10. I know it. Like, Tom builds. Everything he builds is the best freaking thing on the planet. That's just a fact. I cannot put that same sentence behind damn near any guitar that's under $1,400. And those AZs are like, $1,400-$1,500. That consistency from guitar to guitar isn't there. With that said, yes, they're amazing. You may come across one that's just got all that can hang with anything. But consistency is the right term when you're talking about guitars. Mass-produced guitars in general just aren't going to be able to hang on a consistency level. Now, Tom Quayle's blue Ibanez is every bit as nice as any Anderson or Sir I've ever played. No question. Andy Timmons' guitar is every bit as, but that's also good guitars that those guys got. So I don't know. I can't say because I've not went in and played 10 of them back to back. With that said, I will give Gibson a shout out. They have been a punching bag of mine for the early part of the 2000s. Robot tuners, screwed up the length of the neck tenon. Like, Gibson was a punching bag for me. I like to pick on them. I thought they made some garbage for a long time. But I will say the newer Gibson consistency is really high. It's really good. I've played several. I played a Gibson F the other day in Nashville. Brand new, right off the line, and it was kicking. For those who don't know, a Gibson F is my reference to the F5. But this wasn't an F5. It didn't have gloss on it. So it was another F model that had everything except high gloss, right? It didn't have the super glossy stuff. Their consistency's high now. This Murphy Lab Les Paul is rocking. It is good. I will say this, man. The guitars that I've got in this studio are all top tier. The Collings 335 is just slamming. They don't call it that. They call it an I-35. I think PRS's consistency is really high too. I think Ibanez's consistency is really high, and I think for $1,200, $1,300, $1,400 they're unbeatable. I mean, I think the two standout brands at that price point are the Wolfgang or whatever, the EVH guitars, Charvel, and Ibanez. Like, those are great guitars at that sub $1,500 price point. Great guitars. I think when you get into the $3,800 Sir and Andersons, you just kind of, it's like comparing a really great Dodge Charger or a really great Ford Mustang against like a Porsche GT2. It's not fair. Like, you don't compare those things. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense to everybody? I like to keep things in a comparison. Speaking on the automotive level, I think the Corvette Z06 is gunning for those, like, for it to be a car that starts with a 1 and not a 3. Some impressive stats. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Let's see here. That's my thoughts. I don't think there's really a wrong answer. It's just, that's my thoughts. Lucas says, I just ordered some black ice. Yeah, excellent. Yeah, you want a cheaper backup to that. And that's what the black ice is. Album says, for that bright sparkle clean sound, what do you place to EQ? Actually, not a lot. I dip a little 1.8. This is a Boss EQ. And I boost a little bit of that 3. Just a dip, just a tiny dip at 1.8. That 1.8 to 2 kind of thing. And then a boost at that 3. That gives it that sheen. Jay is the man for sure. AZ is a very different feel from the Sir. Super chunky neck. Love-hate thing. $2,000 for Japanese AZ, $1,400-ish for the Indonesian model. That's a nice clarification, Jay. I was only talking about the Indonesian model. That's the thing. Rob says, what pickups are in this guitar? This guitar right here has the prototype pickups to the wood buckers that are coming out. Justin R says, I have the Wampler Brent Mason Overdrive, but it sounds like it's adding the overdrive to my existing clean sound, not purely overdrive. That's exactly what it's doing, Justin. That's in the design that Brent really, that's a thing that Brent likes. So that's exactly what it's doing. That's going to nail you that Brooks and Dunn kind of overdrive, that Alan Jackson, those kind of overdrive tones. Yeah. Yep. So I don't know if you like that. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to do. The question is, do you like what it's supposed to do? John says, at Andy Wood Music, do you have personal or anecdotal experience with hearing problems? Man, I try to take care of my hearing. There's no way it's as good as it was when I was brand new off the showroom floor. But we're on in-ears now with almost all of my gigs. So that helps. My stage volume is pretty loud, so in-ears help. Also, not blowing my guitar back at me in the wedges is really important. I don't do that. Roman's nailing it. Tom's new car. Yeah. Here's Phil. Phil Morris is chiming back in. I wanted what you use, but price was too high. So I settled for an AZ and I'm very happy. But I aim to own one of your signature model guitars. Phil, I think you're going about it in the right way. You're like, this price point is too high. And that doesn't mean it's a Sir thing. It's just like that price point of what Sir does and Anderson and Tyler is high. It's an expensive ride. Like I said, I'm equating that to the GT2s and the Lamborghinis and the Ferraris and stuff like that. I think the AZ is a competitor. I think it's just a lower price point and it's a great guitar for the price point. That's how I would word that. I just think comparing that to a Tyler or an Anderson or a Sir it's not really fair. It's not an equal 1-to-1 comparison. I think a custom shop Ibanez would be an equal 1-to-1 comparison. That's how I would look at it. I think Music Man guitars are great as well. Again, those Petrucci's can be pricey, so you're leaning more into that's like an Italian sports car. I mean, the Petrucci model Majesties and stuff, those are like Ferraris, man. You're dropping some coin on that. Robert Green III says, I was looking for a S1070 Ibanez. They're very hard to find, so I'm seriously thinking about the Andy Timmons Premium. I think that's a great choice. That AT Premium guitar is a fantastic choice. Andy's guitars are great. I have played them several times from just hanging with him. And they're a great story. First Woodshed, he was backstage and he was teaching how to do how he does the what is the he was teaching those arpeggios, and we had laughed about them being sweeped, but he alternate picks them. Right. So, kind of. There we go. Get it clean. Get it clean. Ben Eller. Hey, Ben. Hey, Ben, are you going to come over and work on the record tomorrow? Ben is my compadre and really kind of one of my only trusted officials. Obviously, Ben, you guys know Ben's a fantastic guitar player, musician, bass player. In general, Ben and I work really well together because, man, I like to put it into words is odd. It's just like I can trust that we are both in it for the greater good of whatever we're making. What serves the purpose of the song. We can sit here and go through amps and pedals and solos. Like I like to just take 10 swings at a solo, 10 or 15 swings, and then us just take a minute and shop them down. Be like, what do we like? What sounds good? And I know it's trust is the right word. So we're working hard on this record, and going to be getting on it tomorrow a little bit. Hopefully get this thing done for you guys. Really, really trying to work hard. We've got some really great guests that are going to be playing some notes on this album, and I think Ben and I are both super, super excited about those guest artists. Jim Dover says, looking at your mids on the Gearbox visually, 2 o'clock, just starting point? No, the mids will be really low, Jim. I run those mids at like 9 or 10 o'clock. He says, just in here telling secrets, ask me anything about Andy, I'll spill the beans. It's true, though. And Ben, we were just talking about that earlier in the live stream. I run those mids low because it's a very specific mid-range frequency. If you can visualize mids, sometimes they can be this huge bell, and you're pulling them way up and down. It's like a honky thing. The Gearbox is a very specific mid point. And it's like an upper mid thing. And so it's like I'm pulling that upper mid out of it. So I actually presented Brian with the idea of not calling that knob mids. And he's like, no, man, you're just going to confuse people. Just call it mids. But yeah, I run those low. And again, yeah, Fishbowl, we all miss Zora. Man, she was a great dog. Fishbowl saying, sorry to hear about the dog. Yeah, for sure. Preparna Gosh says, how long each day does Andy practice? I don't know. I don't really ever consider myself practicing so much as like searching is the better word, or looking. I will always, like when Ben and I get together, I'll be like, hey man, check this out. Or like, look at this. And like, have you ever thought about, like, that's the number one thing that I think we talk about when we're all together with music nerds is approach, visualization, phrasing. Like Ben and I, since doing Skank Banger, we've been really conscious about like, how can you make stuff sound sleazy? How can you make stuff sound like guitar and not like a MIDI file? Like so much of the current trend is to make guitar sound artificial. And like Ben and I specifically, obviously it comes from being friends with guys like Timmons and Bonamassa and making those kind of friendships. Mark, all the cats, Greg, like all the cats that we roll with, Josh Smith. And then obviously my fandom for bluegrass music and Jake Workman and Trey Hensley and Cody Kilby, man, shout out to Cody Kilby, a monster player. My affinity for that is like, I want the guitar to sound like guitar and I don't want things to sound chopped and programmed. And truthfully, when Ben and I will working on a record, we'll get into a solo section. Ben's like, dude, this sounds edited, but it's not. And sometimes we'll recut it because for whatever way I phrased something, it sounded like there was an edit, and like maybe a note didn't hold over a bar line. And we'll go back in and be like, hey man, let's hold something over the bar line. Let the hand noise exist. The flip of this stuff. Like conscious to let some of those things live and breathe. It's a balancing act, and that's where it goes back to like being trustworthy and having somebody that you can work with that you can trust. And truthfully, I don't like a crowded studio when I work. I work a lot with this producer named Travis Wyrick, and sometimes those studios can get a lot of people going on. I don't like that feeling. I like a close circle of like not a lot of folks, even if it's band members. Like when Ben and I work, we don't have full band members over here. Rarely do we have guys in the studio besides just us. I mean, rarely. Once an album, and it helps us maintain a clarity and a focus, but you've also got someone in the room you can bounce stuff off of. When I work by myself, it's fine for playing on other people's records where they've got it, hey man, here's your solo, do it here, like give me fills in bar 4. But when on a creative side, we're creating on the aspect of we're going to be playing this stuff live. So that's in the conversation. And we're also like, hey, this is a ground up creation. So a lot of trust has to be put into that, and a lot of different perspectives go around that. So yeah, when it's like, how much do I practice each day? I'm always playing guitar, but I'm not really ever sitting down to be like, I'm going to practice. Now, with that said, yesterday I played a lot of guitar. I sat with some Jake Workman videos and just played along and stole licks. I'm definitely that kind of thing. Yeah, those are the best answers I've got. Phil Morris says, did you know that Guthrie Govan uses a modeler live with a FR speaker? Yeah, I did. I saw that he was doing that, and it makes sense with Aristocrats. It totally makes sense. I like modelers. I mean, I've got Axe Fx's and all that kind of good stuff. I think they're great. Just really nothing to say there. I don't know how people are like, only a modeler works, only amplifiers work. I think that's dumb. I have both. Why not have both? Little column A, little column B. I'm a man that would, if finances permitted, I would own a beautiful 1967 Carroll Shelby GT500, my dream car. And then I would own a Tesla and put it right next to it. It's like, I don't think one exists over the other. If a world existed where I had to choose one guitar, it'd be a Telecaster. That world did exist in the early part of my life when I was broke and I had to make a choice. What do I get? And I was like, a Telecaster. That's what I get. But yeah, as far as like, oh, the new Les Paul is better than the Sirs. Oh, the Sirs sound so much better than the new Les Paul. Oh, the PRS is like, that just is dumb to me. That's like saying the color red is so much better than the color green. You're just like, what? Does it need all the colors to make something cool happen? Right? That's how I look at it. I'm not trying to be too existential or too, hey man, everything's cool. I'm not really trying to look at that in that aspect. It's just like you need to have different flavors. to make the right thing work. So yeah. Ben's breakdown of Dan Huff's solo on Summer's Coming taught me a ton of licks. It's a great solo. That's a great solo. Dan Huff is one of my Arthurian round table guitar players. He's one of my most copied players of all time. We've got a guy that says, Ben, what do you think of the nose on Andy's nose? I mean, I know my nose is kind of weird, but that's okay. It's, not perfect, not a perfect nose. I think I'm not going to do anything about it though. I'm just going to roll with it. This is the nose I'm going to roll with. It smells good though. Tonal Expeditions. Thomas is saying this might be the most entertaining educational YouTube. Yeah, well, you're welcome, right? Dylan in the house. Dylan is a young up-and-coming guitar player, cutting his teeth in the game, out there paying tribute. What DAW do you guys use? And do you have any tips to avoid computer crashes or buffer size issues? Dylan, I use Logic. My tip, spend a ton of money on your computer. Like that there's no way around it. You got to spend a lot of money. You spend $3,000 on your guitar and you're going to put it into a $700 computer. You're going to end up with some problems. That's just going to, so you got to fight and scrimp and save and mow lawns and do all the things and get a really good computer. Dylan, run your sessions and plugins on separate hard drives from your computer. Yeah, Fishbulb right there with a great answer. I actually don't use plugins. I'm not mixing. We use the stock Logic plugins, and that's it. And I do everything, on somebody else's rig to mix. That's why they mix. And Ben Eller says, we both use Logic. I use it better than Andy, just being honest. There's no question. Ben is great at Logic, and I am not. I just end up doing another take. Ben can nudge and move and... I don't know, that hand noise, I can get rid of that. Oh, that bend's a little pitchy, no problem, I can fix that. I don't do any of that. I suck at that. So, yeah, Ben is a better Logicsman than I am, for sure. No question. Not even close, actually. Justin R., too many cooks spoil the stew in the studio. I agree with that. Yeah. What was your idea and thought process behind the song Reach? Please share. Yeah. For me, it was just an E minor 9 chord is always a really pretty chord. That's the chord for pedal show. Right? So to me, that's always a really pretty chord. And that's kind of like that, there's hints of a D, over an E. It's a really pretty kind of sound. Really good. It came from that. I'm going to tell the story of what was going on in my mind versus tell you what was, I'm using these notes and this rhythm and all these things. That's not where I write from. I write from a point of visualization. And the song Reach was inspired by the video game Halo Reach. I think it's a really great video game. I think the story is really powerful. And the fact that none of the Spartans get off the planet. And they give their lives to get Cortana and Master Chief off the planet. Because Chief is in stasis lock or whatever. Right? Really cool. And at the end of the game, once you beat the game, there's one level left. And down at the bottom in Halo, it always gives mission objectives. And the mission objective just says at the bottom, it just says, survive. And it's an endless wave of ads of enemies. And they come until you're dead. And your helmet starts cracking. And it's so good. It's so powerful. And one of the most powerful experiences I had in video games. And I just had this melody. And that was the melody for that moment. Right. And that's where it came from, right? This kind of move. So that was it, man. It just I went to writing, and I also like the idea of chord progressions with that flat 6, flat 7. You can go now to a minor chord, or you can go to a major chord, right? That's it, man. That's my thoughts. All right, so that wraps up another week here. The old Vidami Woodshed. One more time for these fine folks. With Vidami, you can learn all these tasty licks, tasty treats. And you can loop it. You can speed it up and slow it down and pause it. You can say, hey, hold that. Boop. And it will. And it's awesome. And I love this thing. It's so good. One of the most valuable tools for learning stuff. That said, jump over to Vidami.com. Leave them comments on what you'd like to see discussed in the Woodshed, and we will do it. We will join back up. I've got to check the old calendar and make sure that we can do next week's, because I think we're doing some Opry. I think we're doing some Grand Ole Opry. We may have to move the stream to a morning stream next week, which is okay. We can do that. But yeah, be down in Nashville, Tennessee, 2 nights at the Grand Ole Opry with Gary LaVox. If you're in the area, I'd love to see you there. And with that said, any other housekeeping? Yeah. Go to andywoodmusic.com if you want to buy tones for the Axe effects that I've built. You can get transcriptions. You can get tablatures, guitar profiles, all that good stuff. I personally checked the transcriptions. Levi Clay did them. They're amazing. And then the next thing we could do would be go to patreon.com/andywoodmusic for over 600 videos. Yeah, 600 videos. All kinds of tones and tips and tricks. And then a weekly live masterclass. Also, if you want to book a live one-on-one lesson with me, that's where you do it. Patreon.com/AndyWoodMusic. Get your discount code using Woodshed Live 10 at Vidami. And there you have it. Lars says, I hear this song in every shooting game. That's right, man. That is the facts. Hopefully everyone has a fantastic week. Patreon Woodshed members, I'll see you tomorrow night around that 7 p.m. Eastern time, and jump into that and hang out with us. It's going to be a delight. It's a Zoom call, so bring your guitars and hang out with us. That said, I hope everyone has a great week. I'll see you real soon. Go Vols.